All right. What's up, Internet? My name is Gray, like the color, and I own Retro Exchange here in sunny Peoria, Arizona, known on eBay, whatnot, and beyond as Rex for short. And today on Rex Knows What's Awesome, a mint unplayed copy of Mordheim. What's a Mordheim? I'm sure a lot of you are asking, while others are picking their jaw up off the ground. This is a Games Workshop, the makers of Warhammer, board game, miniature tabletop war game from 1999. And before we get too deep into this particular copy, let's talk about it. Let me explain why Mordheim as a thing is awesome, and then why my precious is awesome. But before we get into all that, Games Workshop, of course, has been making Warhammer since the late 70s, mostly in the early 80s, and then they really kind of start peaking and grabbing global recognition with Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader, first edition in 1987. They haven't gone anywhere. They have grown and grown and grown. There's a lot of negativity out there, especially here on YouTube, about how corporate they are, etc., etc. But I think Mordheim is kind of a unique part of their history and has actually kind of democratized miniature wargaming in a lot of ways. And I'll explain all that. I've been a toy dealer collector for 30 years. I have hunted down, assembled, and displayed full sets more than once. Got them all, sold them. Got them all, sold them. Vintage G.I. Joe, vintage Kenner Star Wars, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats. I've never had a full set of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but in any case, I have had them. I've seen it all. Gaming, tabletop wargaming, Warhammer and stuff has always kind of been on the sideline of my action figure collecting hobby. Back in the 90s, when I joined this, and a lot of other people did as well, there weren't as many collectible stores like ours. There weren't 10 toy stores in every major city, right? They were few and far between, and really they had a comic book base usually. Our big chain here that I love and reminisce about all the time was Atomic Comics. He had like 5 or 6 stores. He was big enough to be featured in the Kick Butt movie. I'm not gonna curse, but you guys know what I mean. Kick Butt, the comic book by Mark Millar. They made a film of that, and Atomic Comics is featured in it. That was our big comic store chain. And they had a Warhammer section, so they had all the comic books and all the action figures, and in the back corner, they had the Dungeons and Dragons books, the Warhammer figurines, and I always would cruise through there. But as a kid, mowing lawns and babysitting, Warhammer's always been a little bit expensive. That's one of the things a lot of people say about it. It costs a lot of money to build a big army. A lot of other people say it's overwhelming. Like when you look at the pictures in the book and you see just these hundreds of miniatures and tanks and big dragons, you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy all that and build it and paint it. It's overwhelming for some people. And that's where Mr. Mordheim comes in. So what's fascinating about this game in particular is this came out in 1999. Those of us that are old enough to remember Y2K, right? Like, it was a big deal. People were legitimately scared. Like, they sold insurance, okay? That's how big of a deal Y2K was. A large portion of our population truly thought that at midnight the year 2000, the banking system would crash, the computers would all explode, pandemonium and mayhem, and the end of the world as we know it, right? And nothing happened. It was like a boring, normal New Year's. But as it was leading up, it was a lot on the news. People were talking about Y2K. And so the designers at Games Workshop, if I got my story correct here, thought, how cool would that be if we had a Y2K in the Warhammer fantasy world? Which I guess the way their calendar works, the year 1999 was also convenient. So this takes place in universe 1999. The city of Mordheim has a twin-tailed comet coming at it. And everybody, the world's gonna end. The comet hits the city and destroys it and spreads this weird stone, little glowing green rocks, which is extremely valuable and extremely powerful. And so basically all the different war bands throughout the Warhammer world, orcs, Skaven, the little rat guys, the Empire, the Chaos cults, all descend upon this city to pick through the ruins and fight over these bits of weird stone. It's a much smaller game. You only need like you know, 6 or 10 or 12 miniatures. It's very Dungeons and Dragons like. It's sort of a campaign. You have money, you purchase your guys and equipment, you enter the city and fight over the Weirdstone, and then in between games, things can happen as you're returning to your camp. A dude can trip and fall in a well. You can find extra treasure. You gain money. You can invest that money, make your warband stronger, and play over and over and over. I decided I wanted to start with an authentic original, so I went and hunted this bad boy down. It's never been opened, used, or played. So we're gonna take this over to the tables and open up and show you all the goodies inside of this mint unplayed Mordheim. All right, friends, here we are with a seal, well, not sealed, but an unplayed mint copy of Mordheim. Are you ready? Oh my gosh, look at that. The community calls these whippy sticks. These are to measure your distance, never even been separated. Mint condition rule book. That sells for a pretty penny just by itself. I'm almost sad that I chose to get this one. I've actually owned it for a while, and now I don't really feel right cutting it apart and painting it and using it. So maybe I'm gonna hunt down a used copy to actually use. I don't know that I have the heart to you know, look at that spine. I don't know that I want to rifle through this while I'm playing. Anyway, all of the clips and parts for the terrain are still on the sprues. Even the catalogs are in here. The original war bands this comes with, I think, are Reichlanders, like Imperial guys, and Skaven, the little rat men. None of it's been removed off the sprue. Can you imagine? Like, I'm so excited. How fun would this be to build these vintage little Skaven rat guys and paint them up? I'm having second thoughts. I bought this, I don't know, 6 months ago, and it's just been sitting because I'm too scared or I feel bad to ruin it. Like, the terrain is all made out of cardstock. You pop this apart and assemble it, and it's like brand new. There's a lot of cool YouTube videos on how people take this old cardstock and turn it 3D and make it look nicer. That was my original plan, but now I don't know that I can do it. And then this is funny. One of the things that I was excited about, for absolutely no reason at all, they just included this Comet Tarot card. This isn't even used in the game, just a little thing Games Workshop threw in. So as you can see, it is mint and pretty. As I said in the intro, I would explain to you how Mordheim, I think, democratized gaming. And here's why. This game came out in 1999 and was discontinued in, I think, like 2005, okay? And Games Workshop just got rid of it. They just canceled it. They stopped producing figures. They stopped producing copies of this starter set. It was over. And the community that was behind it is so passionate. In fact, one of the original writers still maintains a website where they update rules and add new warbands. This thing has come out and created a life of its own. Mordheim stuff is everywhere. It is extremely popular. If you type this in your YouTube bar right now, you can watch tons of stuff. People playing it, people building terrain, people assembling warbands. It is popular, okay? And it's 20 years has been out of print. And so because some of the original miniatures are quite rare and very expensive, and since Games Workshop doesn't produce it, people have taken liberties and 3D printed or custom scratch built or kit bashed warbands and terrain, and that has become a life of its own. This Mordheim now is a whole bunch of people that make their own stuff with which to play the game, and that's been strong for like a decade, and I think it has been responsible for the birth of a lot of independent miniature war games, like Osprey Publishing's Frostgrave was basically this, but in its rulebook it says you can use whatever miniatures and terrain you want. There's a channel on YouTube that plays Frostgrave with Lego people, okay? Like, that's how you can do whatever you want with this, and it has spawned other game systems, and it opened our eyes that we can make our own stuff. We don't necessarily need GameStop Official to have fun. So Mordheim itself is awesome. The community that has sprung up around it is awesome. And the democratization of independent miniature gaming is awesome. I don't know if I'm ever gonna play with this. I do definitely want to join the Mordheim groups and start playing some games, but maybe I'll build one or find a used one. Thank you for watching. Hit the like, subscribe, the bell, and all that stuff. Thank you, congratulations, and enjoy.